I am so excited about something I just learned about in the past 24 hours. Actually, in the past, I would say the past 48 hours, I learned. And whenever I looked at the Whimshurst machine, I always thought to myself, I wish I could find someone that did some more experimentation on this. Excuse me. That did some more experimentation on this, such as putting more collectors, right? I've been talking about this. Excuse me. I might need to drink some water. I've been talking about this since I've been experimenting with the Whimshurst machine. Since I've been experimenting with this model for the past few weeks, is can I put more collectors on the Whimshurst machine? These are collectors right here. These do not touch these counter-rotating plates, but they enter into that energy field. There's energy all around these plates. See, what there really is a sea of energy. And if you want to study it, just look up Dirac sea. That is D-I-R-A-C. And then the second word is S-E-A for sea, like an ocean, right? Dirac sea. It's the sea of electrons. Electrons are perpetual. They never stop. They exist without end. There's a sea of electrons around all of space, everywhere, surrounding this machine. And when we counter-rotate two disks, we are spinning the material universe. This is the material universe, right? We are spinning the material universe in the virtual particle flux field, 0-point energy, vacuum energy, tachyon waves, gravity waves, the sea of electrons. Okay, it has so many words, so many names. We can call it gravity waves, we can call it so many things. The other day, Cameron and I were watching a video called The Race to 0 Point. In that video, I learned about a machine that looks similar to a Whimshurst machine, but has a lot more collectors on it, has much larger capacitors, and I thought to myself, this is amazing. I want to learn more about this. And I want to maybe not modify this machine, because it's just a beautiful machine as it is, but I do have another Whimshurst machine that's smaller, which I want to change the brushes on it. The other machine I have has really hard metal brushes that scratch I think these plates are aluminum on the other one. These are copper, I think. And the other one just is like destroying itself, right? I bought it on Amazon, and it was the nicest one I could find for approximately $200. And I've had that one for, I think, approximately 1 year. And I've learned a lot with that machine. It was great. And this machine I thought was a significant step forward in design and also in power, right? And also in efficiency. Because, for example, on the collectors on my other machine, they actually touch the counter-rotating wheels. On this machine, they don't touch it. The brushes are also a very soft material. I don't know the name of the material at the moment. I do have it written down, though. The capacitors are just BBs, and there's a coating of a material here, which is probably copper as well, around here that you see. It was important that the BBs be below that copper. That's an important detail. But that's for this design. If I want to extract if I want to extract a lot of energy from the Whimshurst machine, the proper word to use is the name of the other machine, which I actually at the moment cannot pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce the word. If you look in the description of this video, I will put a link to the video showing the machine. And hopefully that video will stay up. Make copies of it right away. Copy all the videos that are important to you, because I've watched videos over the years continuously disappear off the internet. And luckily, many people have copies of all the important videos. Always important to download or copy in any way that you can a video for research purposes, for research and study, right? For research purposes, educational purposes. It's very important. And because we're all trying to learn, right? We all want to learn about the universe in many ways that we can. In many ways, as many ways as that we can learn about it. So how many different ways can we cohere energy from space that surrounds these machines, right? This machine does it one way and it makes sparks. That's what it's designed to do. But what if we use a different machine? The other machine that I saw, it looks like the wheels are larger. So let's measure how big these wheels are. In fact, the other wheels may not be much larger than this, because this machine is pretty large. I have to be careful not to shock myself. Well, let's discharge. I don't think it'll shock me, because those two spheres are touching one another. So when those are touching, it doesn't hold the charge when they're touching. That'll discharge it. So it looks like we're at about 18 inches here, as you can see here. Yeah, 18 inches. 18 inches. Yeah. So what I did notice on the other machine is that these plates here looked like they might have been aluminum. I don't know what material they were, but they went in further. They went all the way in here. It looked like they went all the way in. And they had, it seemed like they had like a porous material. I'm using the word porous, but actually were literally had holes in the material. And I think that maximizes surface area, right? When I see holes, I think of maximizing surface area. Maximizing how much of that material that's there interacts with the air, right? Just space. So when that's spinning this way, clockwise, and the other wheel on the other side is spinning the opposite direction to this one, and there's collectors, you know, all over here, and it looked like they had some on top and bottom. Now, does it have the neutralizers, or what we think of as neutralizers, right? Does it have those, and what role do they play? And if I recall correctly, that machine, and again, look in the description for the link to the video showing the machine. It's like a 27-minute video, and it talks about the people that use the machine. And the machine has been verified to be an actual, I'm going to call it an actual energy pump. Because if we call it a perpetual motion machine or a free energy device, some people don't like those words, but there's a lot of people that also just don't like when we say energy comes from space, right? But if we don't make energy, then where is it coming from, right? So all power plants are pumping energy in from the environment into circuits, right? That's just what it does. So, so the question is, how do we arrange our circuits in a way that, as Thomas Bearden said, doesn't short out the circuit, right? Creating heat and creating waste, but lets the circuit run more efficiently. So one thing about the machine that I'm thinking of at the moment that I'll put in the description of this video is that it didn't need to spin very fast. I think the RPMs, the revolutions per minute, how many times it spins in 1 minute, right? So 1, 2, 3, right? How many times does it spin in 60 seconds? I think it can run at a very low RPM. I'm trying to think what that was at the moment. Okay, I'm not remembering what the RPM was, but I think we could say it was, there was different numbers. The number 15 keeps coming to me, but I don't think it's 15 RPMs. I think it's, could it be 60 RPMs? Well, I'll have to watch the video again. But it's not very many RPMs. It doesn't have to spin very fast. And that actually makes sense to me. There's so much energy in space, right? In 1 cubic centimeter of space, right? Like a sugar cube is a cubic centimeter. There's megawatts of electricity, of potential electricity until we use it, right? That's when it becomes, we can call it electricity. But right now it's just potential. So when we start spinning the machine, that potential energy is translated into lightning, right? In this case, with the Whimshurst machine. But how can we power circuits with the energy that we I think of the word as cohering, right? Or that we're cohering from space, right? That we're organizing. We're organizing and translating energy from space into our machines, whatever those machines may be, and then into our batteries to power our lights or whatever we need to power. One thing I've noticed is, well, for example, when I watched the video, it was very hard to watch the video, the race to, I think it was called, was it called The Race to Zero Point Energy? I think that was the title or part of the title. What was hard to watch about in that video is, and I think that it's an older video, I don't know what year the video was made, but when people talk about what they have and they can't explain maybe a simplified version that children can build in school, and I'm talking about like elementary school, like the early grades, right? There has to be a simplified version, such as this, right? A Whimshurst machine. This is kind of complicated, but you can buy these on Amazon, right? Not this particular model, but a Whimshurst machine can be purchased from different educational places that sell educational materials. This is an educational device. This device literally pumps energy from the environment into it to make lightning, right? Now, there's a lot of different ways that that's described, and when I look at the machine, I try to look at it like with brand new eyes, meaning trying not to bring any of my knowledge, experience, or wisdom to the machine, but try to look at it and say, what is this machine doing? I have rotation and counter rotation. I have intermittent material contacting these what they call neutralizers, right? This, and one on the other side. And then on the collectors, they don't touch anything on this model. They don't touch anything, but they're clearly entering that energy field, right? Because this thing literally glows in the dark when I spin it. If I take the two spheres and separate them, and I don't let them discharge between each other, this thing will just get charged up, and it'll literally start glowing. I've seen it do that with my own eyes. I'm working on a long exposure so I can show that as well. My phone at the moment will not do an exposure longer than 3 seconds, so I need probably like maybe a 15 or 20 second exposure, or maybe even a minute long exposure, and just see where the light is, see where the activity is. Of course, I would be using a tripod to hold the camera steady, whatever camera I use. So when watching the video, The Race to Zero Point, what was standing out to me was that there was a few people that were so sure that in 1 year, the world was going to be changed by their invention. And when you hear that like over and over and over, and you never see it come out, I have to wonder, as new people, because there's always new discoveries, right? Every day people are discovering different ways to cohere the energy in the environment. If you look for it, you will find it in your own way, whatever way is meaningful to you, right? Because we all see differently, we learn differently. So the whole idea is to not give up. But the thing is that if we see that other people, because clearly these people are being whoever's working with them, their team, there's enough information there that it's like there's no doubt in their mind that things are heading in the direction of their system is going to come out, right? Like there's no doubt in their minds at all. But what's missing is there's not the education of how their system works, even in a simplified version, right? There's just absolute secrecy about how it works. And then they're counting on the one day when their system just comes out. And I guess then people are supposed to figure out how it actually works. I don't know how. I guess they're supposed to take it apart. Or maybe that day they're going to start teaching people how the system works. That day, right? When they start selling them, right? But in actuality, it seems to me clear that if And it's an equal challenge, equal to actually to the original discovery of your specific way of approaching energy translation from the environment, right, into your system that you make, whatever that may be. It could be a modified Whimshurst machine. It could be a variation of the Whimshurst machine and the machine that I'm going to put in the link, in this description here, in this video. It can be a combination of different systems that you know work, and you see something new. You see a new relationship, a new way to pump that energy from the environment everywhere through a circuit, right? This is done every single day. And the critically important and equally important approach, I think, is to educate. If you look at G batteries, they're an excellent example of a company that shared so much information about what they do. But we still have people at the highest levels of education and experience not believing that it's possible to fast charge a battery, an electric vehicle battery, for example, a large electric vehicle high voltage battery, in 5 or 10 minutes without damaging the cycle life, right? There's still people that build highly advanced circuits every single day of their life, electrical engineers, that say there's no way you can do that. G batteries applied for 45 patents. The patents can be read. If you go to their website, you can read what they're talking about. It makes sense, right? Everything they're saying makes sense. But what we don't have, this is just my own thoughts here, we don't have a way to replicate some simple version of that, right? Like when I think of the father and son, when they first started their experiments with cell phone batteries, and they wanted to see how can they charge a battery differently, right? Now, I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what those approaches were. But if that was shared, and maybe that can be shared, maybe that's something that can be talked about if we ask. Maybe we just need to ask, right? But if that's something that we could replicate the early stages of, and then people can see for themselves that, oh yeah, when you charge a battery in this way, it actually charges really, really fast because we're not allowing the battery to build up a resistance, right? I'm just kind of quoting the website when they talk about not letting the battery build up a resistance as it's charging. I'm paraphrasing when I say that. I looked on the company's, I don't know if it was Instagram or what it was, what social media it was, but there's a social media that G Batteries is very active on, and you can see they're very busy. They're making many things. They're very busy doing things, and I've seen that a lot with companies where they're building things, they're making things, but the public never gets to interact with them, meaning the public, the general public like us, just people that buy things, like I would like to buy a charger that can charge batteries in 5 to 10 minutes, but that's not something I have access to as a consumer, if I call myself a consumer, versus whoever G Batteries is presently working with. And I guess they're working with many people, many companies, if I say it that way. But confirm for yourself what words to use, okay? I'm just saying that they are busy making things, but the public, as I understand it, at this moment does not have access to their technology in terms of being able to purchase and use the technology. So, and there's also not like a simplified version or toy of their technology. When I say toy, I just mean something low cost that we can see how we can charge maybe a AA battery or just some small battery, charge it quickly, see the resistance on a meter, see how the resistance is low. Just see this, and to me I think that's very, very important, and I think it's missed. I think it was missed in the entire video, unless I just missed it, but in the entire video I watched on the Race to 0 Point Energy, I'm not sure that's the exact title of the DVD I watched, but that DVD, it just showed a lot of different free energy devices, if I call them that. And because that's what they are, right? They're pumping energy from the environment into their systems, and they're achieving great efficiency, right? More energy out than we put in. As many people have said, it's not a free lunch, but it is all you can eat. In other words, you put a little bit in, you pay a little bit, and you get a lot out. Yeah, so it's not a free lunch, but it's all you can eat buffet. Right? You just pay that first bill, and then you eat until you finished all the food, I guess, or until they close. So, my thoughts are, if I can find some way to access this energy, this efficient energy, I would hope that there would be some way that I could design or create an approach to the use of energy that would be so simple that people could replicate it, right, on their own. And well, when I think of that, I think of Paul Pantone. He did that with the Geet fuel processor, and even when he did that, people were, people were still saying it didn't work, and yet their engines were running, and there was no emissions coming out of the exhaust, and they're like, it doesn't work. So people can have something working right in front of them, and they can still say it doesn't work, and I guess that just means it didn't meet their specific expectations, right? And who knows what those are, because those are not always stated. They'll just say it doesn't work. And but another thing is to not give up, right? And the internet can have a lot of different information, oftentimes conflicting with itself, from different sources. So anyway, well, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up. I just want to say that it's very exciting to experiment. It's exciting to learn. And I look forward to learning from others by replicating, if I just call them energy pumps that just pump energy from the environment into circuits in very efficient ways. I'm interested in experimenting with those systems, continuing to experiment with those systems, and also sharing my experience in words and written and spoken words, and also through experimentation, through actions. If you want to study people that were highly educated that spoke about the energy in the environment, you could study Richard Feynman, who was a Nobel Prize winner and taught at Caltech in Pasadena. And he talked about the megawatts of energy in every cubic meter of space. Cubic meter, cubic centimeter. It's just, there's millions and millions of watts, right? Watt hours and even watt seconds, right? Joules. And then so we have Richard Feynman and also John Wheeler, who taught at Princeton. And these men were dedicated to the study of understanding this great energy that we all have access to and that we interact with on a daily basis. Okay, everyone, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.